Well, hello there, I am Borders Dude and I am taking a look at the alternative universe Optimus Prime. Now, this version of the figure is based upon the Earthrise version of the leader class Optimus Prime, and it's meant to evoke what he looks like on the slab in the Transformers the movie from 1986. But I feel that there's a bit more to this figure than meets the eye. So it's a nice grayscale and works really well. It's not Nemesis Prime colours, it's his own Prime, but he does have some nice silver touches to his paintwork and it does make the mould pop. But what everyone really buys this figure for, apart from reenacting your traumatic childhood, is to get that face sculpt. And man, what a face sculpt this is. I love the little cracks in his visor and the buckles in his head crest. Now to me, while that is sort of representative of the movie, I also feel that it looks a bit more like his Dark Awakening animation model when it comes to the head sculpt. But I could be wrong, it's been a while since I've watched that episode. But you're still getting all the detail that you get in the Earthrise figure, because of course you are. But I think just having it in this sort of grey, almost prototype-like scale does help pick out the detail a bit more. The profile-wise, at the side, looks nice and clean. Yeah, the wheels have always been a problem for people, but I think they sit quite flush, and it doesn't really break up the moulds at all. And again, the detail comes out on this nice shiny black paint on the figure. Overall, the first impressions out the box are very positive. Articulation time. The head is on a ball joint, so as you'd expect, full 360 is available to you. You do get a shoulder joint, full 360 on the arm. As you can see, it's a single bend at the elbow. Very basic. Nice bicep cut, full 360 ability there. You do get a full 360 on his hand. And a single jointed finger joint, I guess. The waist could do a full 360 if it wasn't for the wheels getting in the way, but it's not the end of the world. You can unpack the wheels and get a bit more additional waist swivel if you wish. The legs do have all the expected leg articulation that you require, including the thigh cut. You get a fantastic bend at the knee there. Nice double jointed bend, I guess, and an ankle tilt. Articulation, while maybe seem standard to some people, for me it's definitely enough for my figure photography needs. Size comparison time, here he is with the Siege Optimus Prime, and of course they are the same size. Just grabbing a random bot here. Here he is with Wee Wheelie. Again, the scale of this figure is deluxe-ish, but he's still at a leader price point. So I'll change the camera angle, and that means it's transformation time. Nice, fun, straightforward transformation for this figure. Open up the panel on the arm, and we're just going to pop the fists in there. And obviously we do the same in stereo. It's a really nice transformation, nice and fun, nothing overly complex, just nice is the best way I can put the transformation. If of course you do already have this mould, you know how the transformation goes, or even I would say if you have the Siege Optimus Prime, the transformation is of course very similar, since this mould has been more or less retooled from the Siege Optimus Prime. But I just love the way everything unpacks here in this robot mode. It's very clever how it all works. And nice little tab in place there. I'm going to do a wee 360 spin. Or are we? It's a nice and easy transformation. Like I've said, although I second guessed myself there for a second, as you can probably tell, everything just tabs in where you're going to expect it to tab in. And just bend up. Now what we'll do at this point is make sure that we've got these little guards out of the leg, and this is such a pain if you've not got nails. There's little sort of grips here, but nails would be an advantage. No, not the WWF wrestler nails, just fingernails or a small tool will do. So very straightforward transformation so far. Don't do what I did and forget this bit here, because I tried to be clever and transform him without the instructions and I missed that part. And we have this nice little G1-esque part of the transformation, which I think's really cool. Very nicely done. Nice little homage, if you will. So the arm goes back, and this will go in here. Nice and easily he lies. Now all we're going to do is tab parts in here, as we do. It's already done at that side. You can tell I'm really doing well at showing off transformations on these figures. These bits, here, the little tabs, will tab into his arms just to securely lock everything in place. Now we're just tabbing these wheels into the side here. You might get the odd tab tolerance, it happens, you know, it's not the end of the world. And these bits come out. Now we've got a little tiny part here that you can use to open them up. And there we go. Like I say, nice, fun and simple transformation. And here's the alt mode for Alternate Universe Prime. Yeah, it's just the Optimus Prime Generation 1 style cab. And it's done really well. Again, exact same mold. There's nothing really new here, nothing to show that this is a damaged or deceased Optimus Prime apart from the colour scale. You know, like the head sculpt has that damage. There's nothing here to reflect that. You're just getting a very nice representation of his Generation 1 cab mode. And I love it. A lot of people complain about the wheels, the classic funny wheels at the back and nice wheels at the front. The only thing I don't really like about this alt mode is these parts here. They don't have a locking mechanism at the top, so they just easily fall. So I generally usually just keep them in the leg pieces. But it's really cool, and yes, it does roll. Of course it does, because he's Optimus Prime and he needs to roll out. And for the obvious comparison in size, here he is with Siege Optimus Prime. Give you an idea there. Actually, the Siege Optimus Primes feels like he's just a little bit bigger. Yeah, just a little bit bigger. Not the end of the world though. And of course, the Alternate Universe Optimus Prime does come with accessories, namely his iconic G1 blaster. Let's try and get this bugger to focus. There we go. Decked out in this lovely silver. And of course, what a lot of people have now bought Earthrise Optimus Prime or Kingdom for is the trailer, or rather Huffer's accessory in Kingdom. The trailer, yeah, it's always been pretty bland with this figure. Even when I seen pictures of the G1 coloured Optimus Prime, it's a trailer. And you open it up, as you do, and you've got the wee Diaclone repair bay man, or robot or droid or whatever it is, and you can put Prime in there if you want, but of course with a trailer, all you're really wanting to do with it, when I get it to set in right, is of course plug it into Prime, and that does look really good. It's definitely a nice accessory when it comes to Optimus Prime figures these days, but this works really well, and like I say, it's going to look good for that Huffer figure photography. Speaking of the blaster, you can fold it like so, and it can store in the back here. It just slots in and gives you a nice bit of weapon storage there if you want, and it also fills out the figure with the cab. All nice, all good. Nice additional extra. Do I recommend Alternate Universe Optimus Prime? Absolutely, I recommend this figure. Yes, it is a retool of the Siege Optimus Prime that I have here, but the mold itself has been retooled to such an extent it transforms very differently from its Siege counterpart. And for me personally, I did want a copy of the Earthrise mold, and thankfully there is a lot of choice in this mold now, but I wanted something that was as far away as possible from the Siege version as I could get, and definitely the Alternate Universe or Dead Prime fits that bill. Yes, it represents a rather, I guess, traumatic representation of Optimus Prime from the Transformers 86 movie when he's lying on a slab, dead, but they've done it justice here in toy form, and that head sculpt is really nice. I absolutely love all the battle damage on it, and it just gives a nice uniqueness to the figure over his standard Earthrise retail release. The transformation is dead fun and dead clever, like I've already mentioned, and the cab looks really good in this colour scheme. If you already have an Earthrise version of Optimus Prime or another version of the mould, unless you're a really big fan of the mould overall, or an Optimus Prime fan, or even a Transformers 86 movie fan, then I would skip it and buy something else if you're none of the above. It's a brilliant figure, well engineered, but there's so many nice new figures coming out, or even old figures that you may have to discover or rediscover. I would put your money elsewhere. But if you don't have a copy of this figure, or you are a fan, definitely pick it up and you can relive that traumatic childhood event. Hello, I'm Borders Dude, and I'm taking a look at fucking hell, 5-4 time. Here he is with his Siege counterpart of